Howdy folks, this is Checkers, and we are here to talk about something very exciting, that is Fallout 76, and I'm not really prepared to talk about it because even with the knowledge of the teasers and things, well, I don't normally make videos at this time, so you're going to hear birds in the background, and I can only say sorry about that. But back to Vault 76 and Fallout 76, and that number is very important, and we're going to talk about that. But first, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. That's the fact that we are not going to be using the music from the trailer, so we're not going to have the audio from the trailer, because I have terrible luck with music. That being said, we do need to talk about the song. The song is called Country Roads. It was written by John Denver, I believe, and, well, it's set in, the lyrics are West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River, so I think that's probably where we are, at least the region, if not very specifically that region. Now, all of that being said, let's take a look at the trailer. Okay, so we have a colorized focus screen, and these colors, they're sort of pastel, little color on the edges there. This is very 1970s looking to me. Trust me, I lived through it, just like I lived through Country Roads when it first came out. Here we have our first look at a Pip-Boy. We have the tubes heating up. We'll talk more about the Pip-Boy later. And as we pull out, we are going to see a particular date, 27 October 2102. It's 6:34 in the morning, presumably, or at least it was when this was left. There's a gold bell, which signifies to me some sort of alarm, and the screen, in fact, does say Alarm Vault-Tec Radio. The date is 25 years and 4 days from the time the bombs fell. So this is very close in time, I think, to when the bombs actually fell. Moving on again, we are going to pause and take a look. Here we have some reading glasses, which maybe means more eyewear. In the game, we also have a comic book, a party hat, and a stadium cup. Looks like a plastic stadium cup. Again, another sort of 70s-ish innovation. As the camera pans out, we get a look at the bed. We see Jangles the Moon Monkey, a fedora-ish hat, a denim backpack, and looking around the bed, we can see there's a Vault-Tec van on its side. On the bottom right, there's a baseball, there is a pocket watch, another stadium cup, some slippers, and there's a radiator for heat underneath the sign that says "Good evening." But let's pull out just a little bit further. Now we see some golf clubs. On the upper left, you can see there's a diagram of dragonflies. The sign has revolved to "Good morning," and it's a very wholesome, cartoonish sort of thing. You can almost imagine this sign saying, "Golly gee." And there may be some aspect of innocence or patriotism, or a patriotic innocence, because also if you look over the bed on the right hand side, there's a horse rearing in what looks to be some sort of patriotic figure. In between the "Good morning" and the horse, we have what looks perhaps to be a farm scene. Now, if this is, and it is, Vault 76, and it is also, as we're going to find out in the next scene, the Tricentennial Vault, it could be that it is invoking the spirit of the centennial. And having been alive in the last centennial, I can tell you it is one of those more ultra-patriotic times. So let's move on. Okay, so here we have a board game called The Unstoppable Shindig, and it's presumably a board game based on the Unstoppables comic book characters. Behind that, we have a lager beer with the name DAK space HOU that we can see. DAK Hours or DAK House. I'm not entirely sure which one of those, or it could be something else that I'm not thinking of. But anyway, we've got beer and board games, so someone was having a good night. Moving on up, we have a bookcase and a poster and some things to really take a look at here. Now we have some old familiar board games. There's Blast Radius on the top shelf there. Right underneath it is a game with some red text lettered like 1970s LED style, like what you would have seen in an LED watch in the 70s. Below that, we see a toy mini nuke and a toy car. There's some other board games just to the left, as well as some books. And, of course, a jack-o'-lantern, plastic jack-o'-lantern. So we're still in the October range, and that means that the date of 27 October 2102 could be very, very accurate for at least whatever event happened here in the vault. Up on top of the bookcase, we have a birdcage camera, a mascot-like head, and a beer stein. Now, just above the bed, just in the upper right, you can see the mounted skull of what looks to be a deer. Okay, moving on from the bed scene, we have a television on a TV stand. To the right of the TV, we see a soldier in a sidecar to a motorcycle and a Jeep. Below that, there is the model of an iBot. Right underneath, in the middle of the console, we have a couple of comic books and a UFO. Below that, we have an Aquatic Life magazine, a chess set. To the left of the chess set, we have our Vault Boy and our Handy or Gutsy. Above them, we have Bottle and Cappy, and a Nuka-Cola rocket in the style of the Repcon rockets that we also saw in New Vegas. On television, we have someone who is talking about what the residents here in 76 are expected to do. He is saying that when the fighting has ended and when the fallout has settled, or it might have been when the fighting has stopped, when the fallout has settled, you will be the ones to rebuild. Now, I want to talk about this because this makes me think that the war is still ongoing. The bombs haven't fallen when the citizens of Vault 76 enter the vault. They're sort of a fail-safe. Okay, guys, you are going to be the ones to rebuild because we're not sure anyone else is going to even have time to get to their vaults. So that may also be why we see the ultra-patriotism of the Centennial. This is planned more than some of the other things that we've seen. Maybe even to the point where Vault Tech is planning a future where things will happen and one specific vault to maintain the ideals that it believes most in. But that's a lot of speculation on my part. Moving on again, we see what might be an ice cream machine. Now we have some trophies, citizenship and school trophies, and this laundry room. We've got our old favorites, baseballs, Abraxo, some mason jars, which is interesting. There's a blue cat, like plastic cat toy, not sure what that is, a laundry basket, an iron, some Vault Tech rules over there. Of course, our laundry machines, and then there's a little giddy up buttercup hanging out at the very end of the laundry. And just beyond that, we have our bathroom, and our bathroom here is really kind of interesting. It's clean. It's really kind of perfect. And Buttercup's being a little creepy. But other than that, we've got our first aid kit, but look at the tiles. They're clean. Look at the toilet. It's clean. Nothing is rusted. Nothing is peeling. Nothing is cracking. Nothing is falling apart. There's even a full clean bar of soap sitting on the sink. Leaving Buttercup to be Buttercup, we come to a new computer terminal, and this one's really interesting. It's the first one we've ever seen with any sort of animation other than the games. Now, this is kind of curious to me. This looks like the invitation to the Reclamation Day party, which we will get to later. But like I said, this is email with animation, kind of interesting. And look at the terminal itself. It's not yellowed, it's white. And, you know, everything is in perfect shape. The fan is great. There is a Nuka World mug sitting there with an owl creepily staring at it. That seems to be a theme in the vault, well, in Vault Tech in general. Above that, we have another bookshelf with a Nuka-Cola truck. And, yeah, interesting terminal. Very interesting. Okay, it seems like we're going to add the neighbor's dog to the birds, so enjoy the wildlife, folks. And while we're at it, let's take a look at this dining room scene. We've got some more old favorites here. We've got sugar bombs. Behind the lamp, we've got coffee and Blamco macaroni and cheese. I should recognize that box right in front of sugar bombs, but I don't. And also, if you look to the right of the screen, there is a potted plant, and right next to that, we see a food and water bowl for cat or dog. Okay, so let's breeze through the window here and out into the Vault Atrium, where we find that we've been invited to celebrate Reclamation Day on our animated computer, and well, we're doing that. We've got pennants all over the place. We've got banners hung. We've got balloons in the air tied to things all over the place. There's confetti all over the floor. There's a party table set down there. Now, if you look to the bottom left, you'll notice a floor wet sign, and there is a mop bucket and some mops there. So either the party just ended and someone started cleaning up, or someone committed a party foul and had to start the cleanup before the party was over. Either way, something happened in this vault to get everyone out without any sort of packing, without any sort of looting. They left. They got out and they didn't clean. So either they thought they weren't coming back, or something encouraged them to get out really fast. Or we're just looking at pre-release images and they just, we're missing the people. But it seems more likely to me that something happened based on what we've seen. Everything we've seen so far, from dessert being on the table and the computer still being on, things just happened. Now, I'm going to take a moment to be extraordinarily provincial here. There is a soccer, yes, soccer, because we're in the United States, soccer pitch on the field down there. Now, that's interesting, because this is the tricentennial. America is, presumably very patriotic at the time, so they have been so forward-thinking as to truly embrace soccer or football. And maybe even here in Vault 76, they call it a football field. I don't know the answer to that, but it's interesting that it's not an American football field or any sort of, representation of a baseball diamond or something, because let's be honest, that's pretty small for a soccer or football field too, right? Anyway, it's just an interesting deviation from all the other celebrations of Americana in Vault 76 here. It probably means nothing. Might be a shout out to Pete Hines, not sure, but thought I'd mention it. Okay, let's move along. All right, and here we get a good look at our Pip-Boy, which most closely resembles a Pip-Boy 2000, not a 3000, certainly not a 1000. I'm not entirely sure, because if it were a 2000, I believe it would be inverted, right? So the buttons would be on, basically he'd have to like flip it upside down from the way that it is, but it definitely looks like it's built to be put on this way. So maybe it's a variation of a Pip-Boy 1000, or maybe it's just an image that got upside down at a point and was built that way. Either way, this is our Pip-Boy. Those are the tubes we saw heating up at the very beginning. So it's a bit more primitive than the Pip-Boy 3000 we saw in Fallout 4, and a bit more old school. Maybe that's saying that it's old school in general, but maybe it's also a hint at what I was suggesting earlier, that these dwellers were in their vault long before the bombs fell. We're talking 1 year, 115 days before the bombs fell. So these were dedicated folks here, and something happened 25 years and 4 days after the bombs fell to get them out of the vault. And finally, we have a look at our Vault 76 jumpsuit and the Fallout 76 logo. And that is our Fallout 76 teaser trailer and my breakdown of it. I'm sure I missed things because, well, I'm old and I can't see very well. Well, that's, some other things are a little hard to see on the screen for me. That being said, so from the beginning and the colorized focus screen, to the denim backpack on the bed, to the fact that it's Vault 76 and the song Country Roads. It has, to me, as someone who lived through 1976, a very 1970s-ish flavor to the retro-futurist 50s style that it normally has, which I also find really interesting. And maybe I'm just seeing it because my eyes are colored by the fact that I did live through 1976, and I hear tricentennial or centennial, and I think of the bicentennial that I lived through. But I can tell you, as someone who did go through the bicentennial, that was a really big deal. Coins were struck, quarters were changed, everything was literally branded in this bicentennial way during the time. And to make this the official tricentennial vault makes it, to me, sort of that flavor of ultra-patriotism, but more of an innocent ultra-patriotism, not really so much of a fascist ultra-patriotism. Anyway, it is incredibly exciting. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. I don't think it's too far out on a limb to say it's kind of an offshoot Fallout, like Fallout New Vegas, and I honestly cannot wait to get my hands on it and to share everything that I ever learn about it with you folks. So I would like to say thank you so very much for watching. I hope you found the video informative, speculative, and maybe even just a little entertaining. I, of course, would like to invite you to subscribe, like, and share if you so desire, and to ask you, above all, to please take care.